Hello and welcome back. In this video we're going to be going over the standard form. So in the last 5 videos we went over techniques involving solving linear equations. So we went over collecting like terms and distributing and dealing with fractions and rearranging. And in the videos before that we went over the point-slope form of the equation. So how we use y is equal to mx plus b to graph the lines of linear equations. The equation y is equal to mx plus b is one form of a linear equation called the point-slope form. It is a form that we've been using previously to sketch lines based on the slope and y-intercept. But the truth is you will not always be given lines in point-slope form. There will also be scenarios where you'll be given lines in standard form. So for example, the equation 2y minus 4x is equal to 8 would be an equation in standard form. And the question is, if we were asked to sketch the line of an equation in standard form, how would we do it? Because it's not in the form y is equal to mx plus b. So it's not like we could immediately use our concepts of slope or rise over run and the y-intercept. And the answer is that we're going to be rearranging or isolating for y. And this is one of the examples where the techniques we went over from the last 5 videos are going to be very useful in isolating for variables and rearranging equations. So we're just going to solve for y and see what happens. If we want to solve for y, the first thing we would want to do is get rid of the 4x on the left-hand side of the equation. So we're going to add 4x to the left-hand side of the equation, and therefore we are going to add 4x to the right-hand side of the equation. So notice that the negative 4x and 4x will cancel out, and we'll have 2y is equal to 8 plus 4x. And then the last thing we'll want to do is get rid of the 2 next to the y, and therefore we are going to divide the left-hand side of the equation by 2 and divide the right-hand side of the equation by 2. Because whatever you do to the left-hand side of the equation, you do to the right-hand side of the equation. And I'll rewrite it like this. So we have 2y over 2 plus 8 over 2 plus 4x over 2. So all we did there was we distributed the fraction. And like I said, the whole reason for dividing both sides by 2 was to solve for y and cancel out the 2 next to the y. So this leaves us with y is equal to 8 over 2, or 4, plus 4x over 2, or 2x. So y is equal to 4 plus 2x. And finally, we can rewrite that as y is equal to 2x plus 4. And now we have an equation that matches the point-slope form. And from there we can say the slope is m, or 2, and the y-intercept is b, or 4. And therefore it is the point 0, 4. And that is one way we can deal with equations in standard form, just solving for y and therefore converting to point-slope form. So the general form for an equation in the standard form is ax plus by is equal to c, where a, b, and c are all numbers. And our fancy notation for that is abc is the element of any real number. That just means that a, b, and c can be any real number, so it can be a whole number, a decimal number, a fraction, big number, small number, any kind of number, a negative number, that would work too. And the equation we had in the previous example, 2y minus 4x is equal to 8, is an example of an equation in standard form. 3x plus 8y is equal to negative 2 is also an example of an equation in standard form, so x doesn't have to come first, y can come first. As long as you have something times x and something times y is equal to some scalar value. And as we established in the previous video, the technique that we're going to be using for dealing with standard forms is isolating for y, and therefore converting to point-slope form. Okay, so we'll do one more example. 3x plus 8y is negative 2. We are asked to graph this line, and so we know we want to convert to point-slope form. Once again, the solution is going to be to isolate for y. So we are going to subtract 3x from the left-hand side of the equation because we want 8y to be on its own. So we want to get rid of that 3x. How do we do that? By subtracting 3x from the left-hand side. And therefore we are going to subtract 3x from the right-hand side. The 3x and negative 3x cancel out because 3x minus 3x is 0. And we have 8y is equal to negative 2 minus 3x. And then from there, we want to get rid of the 8 that is next to the y. So we're going to divide the left-hand side of the equation by 8. And therefore we must also divide the right-hand side of the equation by 8. And so we'll have 8y over 8 is equal to negative 2 over 8 minus 3x over 8. Once again, we just distributed the fraction. So the 8's will cancel out, leaving us with y is equal to negative 2 over 8, which is negative 1 over 4 if you reduce the fraction, and negative 3 over 8x. Once again, I'll rearrange that to get it exactly in point slope form, and we'll have y is equal to negative 3 over 8x minus 1 over 4. And from there we can say that the slope is m, or negative 3 over 8, and the y-intercept is b, or negative 1 over 4. And therefore it is the point 0, negative 1 over 4. So that's all I wanted to go over for this video. In the next video we'll go over another method for dealing with equations in standard form, which is called the intercept method. But for now, those are the examples I wanted to go over. Thanks for watching.